All right, so today we're going to be doing quadratic formula, which is on page 10. So if you numbered everything correctly, you should be there. If not, I would pause the video and go through and number your packet. But today we are working with the quadratic formula, and that's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So this is probably one of the second most common things people remember from algebra, and you do use this quite a bit. So this is a formula that you are going to need to memorize. And if you type this in for YouTube or just search quadratic formula song, there is a wonderful little song that will help you learn this formula. But going forth with the problems, we first need to identify our A, B, and C because we're just going to plug everything into this formula. So my A is 1 because that's the number in front of x squared when I don't see it. The term in front of my x is negative 4. But right here, we've got to make one little change. I can't just say that my C is 5 because this whole equation has to be equal to 0. And right now it's equal to 5. So to rewrite this correctly, we have to have everything on the left. So x squared minus 4x is good, but I've got to put 5 on the opposite side, so I make it the opposite sign, so now it's negative 5. Okay, this is the same thing as when we dropped the wall, subtracted 5 from both sides. Okay, so knowing this, my C is negative 5. So what I suggest you do now is pause the video, go through for this page and page 11, and make sure they're set up where it's equal to 0 and figure out your coefficients. All right, if you've already done that, we now need to work on plugging this into the formula. So we have negative b. So I'm going to write the negative outside. I'm going to do this in blue. So negative b, so negative, negative 4. So I'm right here. Notice that the negative came from the formula and from my coefficient. Okay, then we've got this weird symbol plus or minus, and then we have the square root. B squared is negative 4 squared. And then we have minus 4a. My a is 1, and c is negative 5. If you did notes and stuff like you were supposed to yesterday, notice that this middle part is our discriminant. That's what we were looking at with our roots yesterday. So this is where that's coming from. It's coming from this formula. And so that inside part is what tells you how many roots you have. You have 0, 1, or 2. Okay, but finishing this up, after I have all of this written, when I divide by 2a, I need to draw that line across the whole thing. I can't just divide the first or second part. It has to be everything. So then we have 2a, which is just 2 times 1. Okay, so again, I would pause the video right now and go through and just set up this much of the equation, and then we can work through solving it. So do that for everything on page 10 and 11. Okay, so now we're going to go through and finish simplifying this expression. So when I do this, I kind of think of it as 3 different parts. So I'm going to do the same thing here and start solving it on this side. So when I have 2 negatives, I know that's the same as a positive, so I can just write positive 4 and get rid of the parentheses. If this was negative and a positive, I could have just wrote negative, the number, and been done with it. Then I see that plus or minus, so I'm going to keep that. And the square root I'm also going to keep, but I'm going to go ahead and put my discriminant, everything underneath that square root, in the calculator. Okay, so I'm going to go and put my parentheses, negative 4, again that squared goes outside. Oops, sorry guys, having some issues here. So negative 4 squared, the 2 is on the outside, and then minus 4. My A was 1, and my C was negative 5. And now I am going to click the little white negative 5 because that number is inside parentheses. Okay, so that looks good. Pressing enter, we should get 36 as our discriminant. Okay, so I'm putting that under the square root, and then I'm going to divide by 2 times 1, which is just 2. Okay, from here, I'm going to look at the square root, and I can see the square root of 36. If you're looking for that symbol over here, it's just a control and then x squared. If you look above x squared, you see that little square root symbol, and you can put 36. So my square root of 36 is 6. So now I have 4 plus or minus just 6. And then all of this is divided by 2. Okay, so that's just equal. So now I need to treat this as 2 different problems. So we have plus or minus. So the first problem, I'm going to do that with the plus. So I'm going to have 4 plus 6 divided by 2 from this one. And then with the minus, I need to do this again. I'm going to have 4 minus 6 divided by 2. Okay, from here, you all should be able to figure this out using the calculator or mental math. So 4 plus 6 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that's what I get for my first root. For my second one, I have 4 minus 6, which is negative 2. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So these are my 2 roots. Oops. From here, you can check your answer with the calculator. So again, when you put that in the calculator, it's going to have to be this one, not this equation, because it has to be equal to 0. So to graph it, I'm going to click Home, go to my graph, and I'm going to type everything that we had in. So we had x squared minus 4x minus 5. Again, notice I'm using the black minus sign here. I see that symbol. Menu 6.1 tells me how to find my roots. I'm going to click lower and just go a little bit past that where that first root is, and I see I get negative 1, which was my second root. And then for the second side, I'm going to do menu 6.1 again, but this time I'm going to start with my lower bound somewhere in the middle of my graph and then move to the right, and I see that my second root is 5, so I'm good to go. So just be careful. Again, make sure your equation is equal to 0, and then make sure you're paying attention to the signs of your coefficients and where you're plugging them in. I don't think this is too difficult, but you could get incorrect answers easily if you're not really paying attention to everything that's going on from your formula and with your signs. So let me know if you need any help, but otherwise you're good to go.